Okay, so I think the next thing that we want to do, let me go look at the design. Let's design some of the internal pages just so we have some content up here in our navigation. They're pretty easy. I mean, they're pretty much just using Elementor. So let's let me rename this to practice area. Practice area form. Okay, just so we can have that at a later date. Okay, so now we need to go to our pages, and inside of this we're going to edit the About Us page with Elementor, and here. Okay, so on this one we don't need this anymore, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Pretty much all of the internal pages are going to have a title, the content, and then it's just going to do some other things. So let's go ahead and add a title. So let's drag this, and then we're going to put a title inside of this, and the titles are going to be centered, and then we're going to do About Us. We're going to make it an H1 tag. Let's also make it large. Okay, so now for most pages they would have single content. On this one we're going to do dual column content. So let's add in some dummy text. Let me see. Let me just copy some dummy text that we can use. Paste that. Oh, come on. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'm just going to duplicate this entire section, and we're going to move it over here. And let's update that. Go to About Us. And that's kind of what we're looking for there, except for the text over here is not playing nice. Don't know why it's not playing nice. Alright, let me copy it again. And we're going to paste this plain text this time. And of course I pasted it in the wrong place. So let's click on this one, delete that, and paste. Okay. Alright, so that should give us the content that we want with the dual columns. And my client, whenever I designed this site for the client, they wanted to have testimonials just like they had on their homepage, as well as the practice areas on their About Us page. So what we can do is take what we've done on the homepage and bring it over here. So let's open up our homepage and edit it with Elementor. And then we just essentially take what we've done down here, and we can either create like a section for it where it's something that we can actually duplicate as a section and then paste it in. But for right now, I mean, this is a pretty easy change for us to do. So now you know what, this one's going to be easy. This one down here is going to be a little more difficult. So what we're going to do is take a we're going to make this into a template. So let's go ahead and take this one. It's just a short code, so this one should be easy to do. We just come over to our Elementor, add a new section with short code, drag it in, and then paste that short code. We do need to add the title to it, so that's just going to be a divider with text in the middle of it, and then it's using typography is going to be 30. Okay, so let's grab a divider here. It's going to have text in between, practice areas. We're going to come over here. The text is going to be 30, and then we're going to use that primary text or color. let's see, we have on the divider, we're using the EA color, so copy that, come over here to the divider, and none of those work, so let's do that. Alright, so now if we hit update, we have our practice areas, and again each one of these linked to their individual pages. Okay, so now I want to show you how to do this, duplicating what we have on the home page for this section. So I'm going to go to back to our site and pages. I'm going to duplicate our home page. So we're just going to duplicate this for now, and then we're going to edit it with Elementor. We're just going to take out all the stuff that we're not going to use except for the testimonials. So we can delete this, delete that, this, that, and this is all we need. So once you have the section that you want to have, you can actually come over here to this and hit the up arrow. Okay, and then we can save it as a template. And then we're going to say template name is going to be, let's see, testimonial block. Okay, so now we're going to go back to edit our About Us with Elementor. And then once we're inside of here, we can come down here, click on this. Now, click on this, and it'll open up that window that we just saw. So we click on My Templates, we can click on Insert here, and then go ahead and hit Yes. So now we have that exact same information, the same way we had it set up on the home page. And let me just verify. So on this page, the client had the practice area below the testimonials. So we're just going to move it down. We're going to move this down as well. And now if we hit update and we refresh our About Us page, we now have the same testimonial that was on the home page. And you can do what we just did with this with any section. So let's say if you actually did build this out instead of using a short code coming from a custom post type, you could build it out the way that you want it to instead of having to rebuild it each time. Just go in there, duplicate your page, remove all the stuff you don't need, and then create a template, and then it's as simple as just inserting it into the next one. Now keep in mind that if you make one change on the home page, for this, it won't necessarily update it on this page. That's the reason why I went with the short code to make it a little bit easier to manage. But for this, it just gives you, if it's something that's not going to really change and you just want to use like the look of it, then you can go in there and create a template. With this one, it's pulling from a custom post type, so it doesn't really matter what the content is in here. It's going to be dynamic, but what mattered, we wanted to keep, was the look of it. So just kind of keep that in mind whenever you go to create templates, that it's not always going to work out that way. It's just this one, it works out that way. Alright, so now looking at the page, we have these header tags, and then this header tag is the primary. These are secondary, but they're roughly the same size. So I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to update the size of this text to make it a little bit bigger. So let's go to our style, and then let's just make it to about as big as we want it. That looks about good. So let's hit update there. Alright, so now that we have this page, it's created, it's done the way we want it to, we're going to use this as a basis for the other pages that we're going to create. So let me close out of some of these that we're not using, and let's exit to the dashboard. And that's fine because we don't care about editing that page. Before we get confused, let's go ahead and trash this duplication of the home page that we did. Okay, so now if we want to kind of stick to the structure that I've used previously, they had an Our History page as well. So let's go ahead and take this, we're going to duplicate it, and let's just go edit it. We're not going to edit with Elementor yet, we want to change this. So we're going to do Our History, and then we're also going to make it where the parent page is the About Us page. So let's go ahead and publish that out, and now we can edit it with Elementor. And let's change this to Our History. And just FYI, you wouldn't necessarily always have to edit these titles to match with the content that you want it to. You actually have this dynamic tags that are available here, but they're only available for Pro, which right now I'm not using the Pro version of Elementor. So if you wanted to be able to insert dynamic tags that's coming from the content, like the title, for example, you could do that. And it's pretty easy. You just click on here, it gives you the options, and then you just paste in what you want. Okay, so for our history, we don't need the other sections. It's just going to be some content. And I think we're just going to make it one column as well. So let's go ahead and delete that and hit update. Okay, so now I want to add these two pages that we just created to our navigation. So let's close out of this, exit to the dashboard, and then we're going to go down to our appearance and menus, and we're going to add the About Us and our history to that page structure. There. Okay, so now we save that, refresh, and we have our About Us with the drop down for our history. That looks really weird. I mean, it's because we're using very small text. So let's edit that text real quick to make it a way it's not so weird looking. Only thing we got to do is just edit some dummy text. So we're just going to put some paragraphs together and then duplicate it a little bit, because these paragraphs are very short, so it's causing it to wrap weirdly. Alright, so let's just copy that now and paste. Okay, so in real sites they won't necessarily look like this, but obviously you can tell one paragraph is equal to one sentence, and we're displaying it on a pretty wide resolution. Okay, so that's good. We have a single page created using Elementor, as well as a subpage of that. Let's go ahead and create a Contact Us page as well. So we're going to go back over here and let's just duplicate our About Us again. So once you have your template kind of set up, you can duplicate it for your single pages. You don't have to really design each one of them individually unless you want each one of them to be dynamic and custom looking. So for right now, we're just going to kind of rush through creating the content for these dummy pages. So Contact Us, and then we're going to publish that out. And now we're going to edit it with Elementor, and I'm going to change this to Contact Us over here. Let's go ahead and we're going to remove this. We're just going to delete that. Let me see. Looking at the design. Okay. So we want to have a widescreen contact form. Okay, so let's do, instead of Contact Us, Contact Our Law Firm. And then let's get rid of this. And get rid of this. This. Okay. So based on one of the designs that I've done, they wanted to have where it was 3 columns with icons on each. So we've already kind of done this previously. So let's just go ahead and do it again. And the way we do that is with the icon widget. So we got an icon box here. And essentially they just want to have the icon and then the information about that icon. So we don't need a heading. So let's get rid of this. And let's make the first one, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 street. And then a break tag, city, state, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's just the address. And then let's also add another dummy one down here for get directions. And we're going to make this a link. And let's just make it go to a pound sign right now. So for this, we want to have like a map icon. So this one will be fine. And then we're going to have it stacked so it has that same look that we've had for the other ones. Let's make the size a little bit smaller. Not that small. Let's make it about there. A little bigger. There. Okay. So now let's take this and we're going to duplicate it 3 times because my client wanted 3 different ways for people to find them. So the last column that they wanted was going to be their hours. So we're going to find a clock that'll work. And then in here, we're going to have, let's just put in some dummy hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 9 a.m. 6 p.m. Add a break tag. We're going to do Saturday is closed. Add another break tag. And then Sunday closed. And again, you could put whatever kind of information you want here. This is just more relevant to the client that I had. This is what they wanted. And over here, they wanted to have like a telephone number and a fax number. So we're going to add TEL 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Then fax is going to be 1 2 3 9 9. Add our break tag, and then for this one, let's just make it a phone and insert that. Okay, all right, so now we have 3 columns with the information that they wanted. They also, on theirs, they wanted to have a section that displays their social media, so we're going to add this divider again like we've previously done. I'm going to make it say text, and then it's going to be join us on social media, and the text was 30, and it was the primary color, and then the divider. What was the divider? I cannot remember what the divider was. So let's go back over here. And let's grab what our divider color is. It's the EA color. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make this a little easier. So let's edit our global colors. And we're going to add a new color. And we're just going to call this light gray. So we don't have to keep picking it each time because I can't remember what it is. Okay, so let's update that. And you can add as many colors, many different kind of types of fonts that you want to do and stuff like that. So this was just another way to show you how to do that. Okay, so let's click back on this. We're going to get to our color, and it's going to be light gray. There we go. Okay, so now we want to add in another box that is for the social media. So social icons is what we've been using for the rest of the site. And we're going to use the same style that we have for these. So let's do circle. Those are fine, and you can modify the links however you want to modify them. So let's go official color. We're going to do custom color. The primary color is going to be that. The secondary color is white. That's fine. Let's keep that one as it is. Alright, so let's go. Oh, didn't want to duplicate it. So I want to open it up. We're going to use the custom color again. Primary. Then custom primary. Alright, so let's update that. And we're just going to switch over to contact-us. See how it looks. So that's what we got so far. Now, the next part is we're going to create another contact form. So I'm going to go back to Fluent Forms, and we're going to create another form. So Fluent Forms, add a new form. It's just going to be a custom contact form again. This one we don't really have to change anything on. Let's just keep that one as it is, except for this submit button. We want to make it large, and then the custom color was, I gotta pick it again. Go back over here, find this primary color here. Okay, so got our background color. It's going to be that color with the border color being the same. And then our text color, the same way we did for the other one. I guess we probably could have just duplicated the other one, but that's fine. So let's do general contact. We're going to rename that, and we're going to save that form. And now we're going to copy that Fluent Form ID, And down here, we are going to add another widget that's full screen, and we're going to drop in a shortcode. Put it in the wrong place. Okay. Shortcode gets dropped in right there. With a shortcode, it looks like that. So apply and update. So it should look normal. Okay. Alright, so I want to add a section around this that kind of differentiates it a little bit. So let's go back over here, and inside of this container we are going to style it to have a background color, and we're just going to do like the light gray color. Okay. Also, I don't really like how labels are displayed outside of the text. Some people do, some people don't. I personally don't, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So you click on hide label for each one of them, and then you can do that for all of them, because these are already showing what is needed. The only thing we might have to do is just add like the star or the asterisk for it being a required field. I think the email address was required, but nothing else was. Okay. Alright, so let's save that now. And now if we refresh, it should look a little bit cleaner. There we go. I want to add some padding above it and below it so it's not pushing right up against that. So let's come over here and go back to this, and we're going to do advanced, and let's give it a margin top of, say, like 30 pixels, and then a padding top. Let's do a padding top and bottom of 20. So it gives it a little bit of spacing around that contact us form. Alright, so that looks much better. So now we have a contact page and two individual pages. So let's go back to our menu and add the contact form where it needs to go. So appearance, menus, and then contact us, we can just put it at the end of our navigation. Alright, now we have our pages. So we're slowly building up this website from scratch. So hopefully, so far y'all are kind of staying with me. I know it's a lot to take in, but once you do it once or twice, it gets much easier. So the next thing I want to do on this is create a staff page. So the staff page is going to be set up very similar to how we have our practice areas. It's going to use a shortcode. It's going to use its own custom archive page. So I guess let's go ahead and get started on doing that. Alright, so in order to create a new custom post type, we're going to do the same thing that we did previously. So we got CPT UI, and inside of this we're going to add a new post type, and let me see what I want to call that. I want to call it, let's just call it team. I guess that would probably be the easiest, so let's do team. And then the plural label is going to be team, and then singular is going to be team as well. And let me just look through some settings for the, let me just look through some of the settings to see if there's anything else that we need to add down here. I know that we want to add a custom icon with it. So let's find that custom icon. Where's the icon at? We also want to have page attributes so they can order that. Where's it at? We don't want it to have an archive page because we're going to use the custom shortcodes for that. I think I'm missing it. Where is it at? Menu icon. Okay, so let's open up the dash icon, and I guess we can just find a person. So let's do person. There, that'll work. Dash icon's business person is what we want to copy. So let's take that and paste it in here and add post type. So now we have our team here, but we also need to add some custom fields to it as well. So let's create a new field group, and we're going to call it team, then inside of this field group we want to give them some information. So let's say add the field, we're going to give them a title, email address, phone number. So let's do title, and that's fine. Text, it's required. I think that's it. So let's add another field, and this is going to be email address, and it's not required. So let's just, I think the only thing we need to have required is the title. Okay. So this can be an email field. Let's just go ahead and make it required. And then we want to add another field with a phone number. So let's do phone number. And then this one is going to be, let's just do a text and make it required as well. Okay, now if you've ever done a law firm website before, you know there's some things that they're kind of looking for. So one of the things that they look for is the ability to display their areas of practice specifically for each lawyer, any kind of association they're in, and then what their education is. So that's what we're going to call this one as well. So areas of practice, and then the type here is going to be a text area. Now let's just go ahead and make it an editor, so in case they want to add bold or anything like that to it. Let's just make it not required. I think that'll be fine. Let's add another field for professional associations, and then this one also is going to be a WYSIWYG editor, and then finally education, then WYSIWYG editor as well. Alright, so now we just need to make it show up when it's equal to a team member, and let's save it. So now we click on team, we go to add a new team member. We have title, email address, phone number, as well as attributes, featured image. Okay, so now we have what we want for that. So let's go ahead and add in a test person. So let's do test person 1, and then I'm just going to copy some dummy text, some lorem ipsum, just so we have something there. And then let's say we want the title for the first person to be managing member. Email address is going to be test@example.com. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Areas of practice. So we can write out whatever we want. I'm just going to copy what I've put down in a website that I've done for lawyers, just because there's a lot of stuff that they can have in here. Professional associations, let's just say test association 1, and education. There we go. Okay, alright, so now let's publish this one out. So if we go to view it, it's not going to show it the way we want it to. It's basically doing the exact same thing. It's just displaying a regular standard page. And there's currently no archive page for it. So what we need to do is switch back over to our editor. Let me close out some of these windows for now. Let's just switch over to our editor, and then we can modify this. Alright, so switching over to editor now. And here. Okay, so let's keep these open for now because we're going to need all of these in just a second to kind of reference in what we're doing. Okay, so first thing we want to do is create a new file up here, and we're going to call it team.php. And inside of that, we're going to create something very similar to what we have for the practice areas. And we need to make sure that we also call that inside of our shortcodes, because these shortcodes are going to be required on the front end. So let's do team.php, and that'll call this blank page for us. Alright, so let's start writing the code. Let's see what we can copy from here. Let's just copy this whole thing, because that's displaying the archive for us. And we named our post type team. So let's change this to team as well, which is going to force us to change this shortcode down here, and it can be team. So trying to make this as simple as possible. You have the ability to name these whatever you want to name them as long as it calls the correct function. Okay, so we got this. Let's go ahead and get rid of, do we want to get rid of any of this? No. Let's keep this right now. Let's put a class on here just so we can control this whenever we get there. But we need to have the while statement. We need to display it in a structured column the same way we have here. And we're going to create our own content that goes here. So let's keep the permalink, get rid of the class icon, and then we're just going to put the title inside of it. And then we can get rid of this. Okay. And I'm just going to pull this all the way out of here because our structure is going to be different for this page. We can keep this on here because I'm pretty sure we're going to want to display 3 on each column, and 33 is fine as well. Okay, so let's save this and let's go create a page for our team on the front end. And where's it at? Here. Okay, so let's create a page, and I'm just going to duplicate the practice areas, because our team area, our team page is going to look very similar to it. So we're going to edit this, and we're going to call this our team, and publish. Okay, so now let's edit it with Elementor, and instead of calling the practice areas shortcode, we are going to call the team shortcode. And let's change this to our team and hit update. So it's not populating anything yet. Okay, let's go back to our dashboard, and we have a team member in here, so we know that. And I spelled team wrong. Okay, let's go back to Visual Studio. If you spelled team right, that part should work out fine for you. So we need to go to in here. It's already team there, so we need to go into our Chrome, edit post types, select team, and fix this. Team slug is changed. Okay, so let's save that, and we need to delete the old team. This one, delete post type. So that means we need to recreate that team that team member we just created. So add new team member. So frustrating. Okay, going back, I think I did the exact same thing whenever we went to go create the practice areas. So let's edit this. It's going to be equal to team. Now update. Okay, so now we should be able to go in there, add the team, and view it on the page. Okay, so let me see if I can remember everything that I typed in for this person. So blocks, and this person is going to be test person 1. And let's go ahead and set their order to be 1. And the title was managing member test at example.com. Phone number there. The areas of practice, I'm just going to copy this. Professional Association 1, then education here. Okay, so now let's publish it. And if we go back to our team page, we should see test person 1. If you click on it, it'll go to that single landing page, which is not what we're going to end up doing in the end. But for right now, you can see that it's pulling the correct code. So let's switch back over to our Visual Studio Editor, and let's start coding some of this. Okay. So one of the first things that we want to do is we're going to be associating an image with these team members. So we're going to create a variable called thumbnail, and then it's just going to use the function get the post thumbnail URL, and then we're going to pass get the ID, and then finally we're going to pass the class for it. Okay, so that's going to grab the URL of an image that we didn't upload, so we're just going to upload one in a minute. So we have our row, we have our columns. Right now we can just live with the columns, and it'll automatically, once it gets to 3, it'll close out that row and create another row and then do 3 more. So inside of this we want to create something that displays the image and then displays some information about the person that is there. So let's create some classes that we can work with. Alright, inside of this we're going to use the widget wrapper, if I'm not mistaken. We go back over here. No, we completely eliminated that here. Let me see, how do I want to do this? Let's do div class equals team member info. This is where their title and all that kind of stuff will live. And then we're going to do an h2, and let's paste this inside of that so their name is clickable inside of the h2. And then let's put an h3 underneath it, which is going to contain that title field. So if you remember in the other ones we had to use a shortcode. So if we go to practice areas, we have this do shortcode field name. So we're going to come over to team, and inside of this we called it title. Deleted the wrong thing. Okay, there. Title. Okay, so that should give us their name and then their title. And then let's also do another div that has their email address and their phone number inside of it. So let's do div, and then let's see, href equals mail to, which is for emails, and we have a shortcode value for that, which is email underscore address. And then because it's a link, we want to add some ADA compliance to it. So let's do title equals email, and then get the title. And then we can close that out because this is going to be an icon, I want to say. Hold on, let me see what the theme is looking for here. So we go to our team. No, it's just going to be displaying the information. So we need to have it where it displays this. Then we can put in another div direct below it, and then this one's going to be phone number. Okay. So phone number. I'm going to change this to a tail link, and then the rest of it can stay the same except for this phone number. Okay, alright, so now I'm going to go back to Chrome. We're going to refresh this page. It should give us a little more information. Where's it at? Here. Alright, so now we have test person, managing member, and then their email address. That looks good. So now we need to add an image. So inside of this, and exit out of this, featured image, set featured image. We're going to upload a staff image picture. And set featured image, update. Okay, so now we have the featured image in there, but we're not pulling it. So let's switch back over to the code, and then we're going to pull it. Code here. Okay, so we're grabbing it here, but we're not doing anything with it. What we want to do is have where it's kind of above their name. So we're going to say div class image wrapper, and then this is going to be a class that we're creating for ourselves. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's copy this because I'm going to use that link. So this, and then get the permalink here. Okay, then we're passing the title, and let's just say this is going to be their name instead of view or call. And then we're going to pass an image, so image source equals that thumbnail that we created above. Then the alt of this is going to be get the title again, just for ADA compliance. And then I think that's it. Okay, so now let's go back to our Chrome window and refresh. And now we have our staff member with their name and their title. What I want to do is kind of clean this up a little bit and make it actually, that's why we have those classes wrapping around the code. So let's switch back over to Chrome or Visual Studio, and inside of our style sheet we're going to create some styles for this for the team members. So the first style we need to do is staff. Okay, just so we have something on there. Okay, so we had a class called image wrapper for the image, and we just want to, let's say background color, and we're just going to make it black because we're going to use that, we're actually going to style it on the image tag. So background ROUND, then here let's do staff image wrapper image, and then for this we're going to have it width 100%, height auto, and let's say transition. Let's see, transition, we're going to do opacity 0.4 seconds. Alright, so essentially the reason why we're doing the background color black is that we want it to be, whenever they hover over the image, that it makes it, the opacity is going to lighten a little or darken a little bit so that the black bleeds through more, and it's going to look like it's got a little hover effect on it without us having to switch out the image. Okay, so we're going to do staff image wrapper a hover image, and then this is just going to be opacity, let's say like 0.8. Okay, so before I show you what everything is, I'm just going to kind of go through and modify all the styles that we want to have. So the next style that we're going to be looking at is, where is it at? Team member info. Wait, should this be outside of that? Yeah, okay. Let's take this, put it outside of this. So it's with the team member info. So we're going to take this class now and go back to our styles, and we're going to do staff team member info H2 because that's going to be their title. And let's just give it a margin of 0, and I want to do a font size of 2 rem. And we're going to do the same thing for the H3, I believe is what we have on there. So H2 and H3. So let's change this to an H3. And we want to do something different with this. So let's do margin 0, font size. Let's do 0.8 rem. And then we're going to do color, RGBA, and we're just going to make it like an off black. That's kind of transparent. Then we're going to do the font family is going to be text, because right now if we look at it, they were all they're all using that header font if it's a header. So we don't want this one to be inside of that header font, so we're going to use the font family, the regular font family, which I'm just going to copy from the SCSS. So font family, and the variable is going to be there. And this is just the text font family that the rest of the website uses. We also want to make this uppercase, so text transform uppercase. And let's do border dash bottom, just so it separates this from the title and the person's name from the links to contact them. We're going to just add a bottom border underneath it. And we're going to do RGBA, make this a light black as well, with 0.3 visibility. And then let's add a margin to the bottom. Margin dash bottom, and let's just do like 5 pixels. Okay, so I think so we got a link inside of our H2. We want to make sure that that's styled appropriately too. So let's copy this. Yep, copy that, and then we're going to do A, and then we want to have the color for this one. Let's just make it a darker color, so 333. Okay, so now let's view what that looks like in the browser. So now if we refresh, okay, real quick, whenever I was editing the image wrapper inside of the team is, so we got staff here. Staff, where are you at? Staff image wrapper. Hold on, let me look at the code real quick, because this should not be black. It should only be this. You see the transition. So we got your image wrapper. Then the div is closed. Oh, okay, let's see. On the alt tag, I didn't add a double quote at the end of it. So now let's refresh. Okay, there we go. So still not exactly what I wanted to do, but we'll work on the styles just a little bit more before we continue. So it's trying to wrap everything inside of a column here, which it should be, but it should also not be wrapping it to the side of this. It should have another column right below it, or right beside it when we add a new person. So let's add a new person and see what that does. So let's duplicate this person. We're going to edit it and change it to test person 2. Test person 2. And let's just say lawyer. Publish, publish. And I want to see how it breaks up both of them. So it's got test person 2, and it's putting it off to the side, which is not a bad look, but it's not exactly what I want it to do. So let's see why it's moving it over. So team member info, Elementors column. Okay, I might have to play around with the styles for a little bit. But from what you can see here, it's actually creating the the content where it's displaying it from that single page. So let's switch back over to our Visual Studio and let's see what's going on here that's causing it to wrap like that. Okay, so first let's look at the team code. And we got our column. I wonder if we need to add a column element or column wrap around this entire section. Let's just see what that does. So we're going to do div class equals elementor dash column dash wrap, and then let's push all of this in. Try this, and I'm going to refresh it off screen so I can see if we need to keep going or if we can see if that fixed it. That did not fix it. Alright, so let's keep going. So inside of the column wrap there is also a widget wrap. So let's do div class equals elementor widget widget wrap. Then again we're going to take this, push it in, and close out our div. Now I'm going to refresh it off screen again to see if it fixes it. And that fixed it. Alright, so apparently for the way we're trying to display these, we need to have those wrappers that go around it. So I'm going to switch over so you can see what it looks like. So that's it. Yeah, I just kind of refreshed it. What I want to do is see if we can make these images smaller and make it a way that the image doesn't appear down at the bottom. So it fills up the whole thing. I think it's going to have to be 100% height, 100% width, which is not something that I necessarily want to do just because the image could squash itself. But I want to add in a new team member just so we have 3 of them there. Nope, not that way. I want to add it in this way. So let's edit this, and we're going to be 3. Publish. And we're going to refresh. So now we have 3 people displayed on there, which is the way we want it. So let's see if it automatically wraps to the next section and what that looks like. So let's add in a 4th person, and then there should be enough people for us to do our test. So we're going to do 4 update. Okay. Forgot to publish. Okay, now let's refresh it again, and we have 2 rows. Alright, so now what I want to do is minimize this. So let's do inspect, and I guess before we do any of that, let's take these columns and we want to add, let's select margin bottom, set like 20 pixels, give them some space. Let's do 50 pixels, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to create a class from it just to add that padding to it. So let's get rid of Chrome and go over here to our styles, and we don't need any of this. But we do need, I believe it's all contained inside of the staff. Yes, okay. So we do dot staff, element or column, and margin bottom 50 pixels. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to Chrome, refresh, and we have the pixels between it. So if we look at this and we take this height instead of being auto and turn it into 100%, no, that doesn't help it either. I thought it would. So maybe if we can, we remove that, it doesn't have the, I guess it does. It just turns white instead of dark. Okay. Alright, so let's do it that way just to make it a little bit easier so I can move forward with it. we're going to just remove the background color from here. Okay. Alright, so that should give us our archive page for the staff, but now we need to create the single page for the staff. So if we click on it right now, it goes nowhere. So inside of this, let me switch over and go back to Visual Studio, and we are going to create a new page, and that's going to be called, hold on, get my screen set up. Okay, we need to call it single-team.php. New file, so single-team.php. Okay, now that we've created the page, we're going to kind of do this the same way that we did the single practice areas, where we're going to have to create a class, because again, unless you're paying for the pro version of Elementor, it's not really an option for you to go in there and just create a custom post type with Elementor. So you have to kind of create the elements yourself, but we're going to use a little bit of what we have here in the single team. There's a few things that I'm going to do a little different, but first thing we obviously need to have is the PHP get header, and then the PHP get footer. Okay, so and then inside of that we need to have the while loop, so PHP while have post, display the post, or get the post, and then we end our while loop. Okay, so inside of this we need to let's copy something from here. So let's copy section to section, and we know this one displays 75 and 25. On the single team, we're going to want to do something similar to that, but let's switch it around. So let's do, instead of 25, let's do 30 here, and let's do 70 here, and then we're going to take this div and we're going to paste it above this one, so it has the smaller section on the left and the larger section on the right. So the smaller section is essentially going to have an image of the person, their phone number and their email address, and then on the right side it's going to have the information about them and the content. So let's first get rid of the stuff that we don't need, which would be this and this. Okay, so inside of this, let's create let's see what I want to do. All right, let's get the image first. So we're going to do what is it? PHP echo the post thumbnail, and we're just going to echo out the image here with the class on it, and then we're going to create that class. I'm gonna use like a bootstrap class just because it's easier for me to translate to you guys, but you can create whatever kind of class that you want to. So we're going to grab the large image, and then we're going to pass an array for the class. So class, and then image fluid, and then that should give us an image from the post thumbnail. So now we need to go over to our styles, and over here why don't we create a new class to keep it inside of. Let me see, I'm just looking through my notes. Let's create a class up here and call it single team. Alright, so now we have single team. So on this side we can let's go ahead and create the image fluid class. So let's do image dash fluid, and it's going to be max width 100%, and that's kind of recreating what Bootstrap would do. So let's do height auto, because we want the image to stretch to the width of that column. Let's go ahead and also create a class called text center, and then let's do text align center. And this, because we're going to use that, we could actually go back to our single practice area, I believe, and here let's change our style text align center and just do class equals text center, and then the same thing for the one right below it. That way we're not creating a whole bunch of different code that we're not going to need, or we're going to have to modify. We don't want to have any inline code. Okay, so we got text center, text center. Okay. And I'm also going to take these two classes, since they don't really deal with staff or any of the single elements. I'm just going to add them underneath the body to keep them a little more organized. Okay, so going back down to the bottom, we added a class single dash team. So single dash team, and actually, you know what? Let's see how that looks right now, and see if we can actually pull up the page in Chrome before we get too far into that. Okay, so if we refresh this, there we go. Alright, so we got information, and this is being populated because of the coding that I left in there from the single practice area. But we have it where it's currently inside of a container, and we're going to have to do that little fix that we did to add the padding on the left side over here and the right side. But we do have our image being stretched all the way across, which that's what we're wanting. So let's look at our style sheet, and we have I'm trying to find the right here. So we're going to take this, and I believe it was single team, and I don't think we have a content. Let me see, where did I put that over here? So content is there. Content is there. Okay. So we don't need single team here, because if you remember, you can't even see what I'm doing. If we look at the source code here, we have single team is already here, but I just essentially removed the single team that I had created on there. But let me switch over to Visual Studio so you can actually see. So going here, content was already here, and then I just removed single team. So if we go to our styles, we already created the element that does the wrapping. So we just type in single team content element or content wrap, and then padding 10 pixels. And that'll give us the padding that we want around it, which I'll show you here. It has the padding on the side just like we want it now. So now we just got to go in there and add the other information that they want. So let me look at my design a little bit. So on the design, we're going to have this is going to be our H1 in the style that the other one is for the practice areas, and then underneath it we're going to have managing member or whatever their team title is. And then we're going to have the content about them, area of expertise, education, contact me. We'll get into all of that in just a second. But first thing we need to do is we've already created a class to make this and the subtitle different. So we're going to go in there and make sure that the subtitle for the team is the same as the one that we did for the practice areas. So single team, and let me switch back over. So I added this, just duplicate it, and it's going to be single team. Content H1 is going to make it bigger, and it's going to give it that blue color. And then we're going to also have an H3 underneath it for the title. So single team H3 here. Now on this page we have where's that? So H2, let's keep it in H2. So we're going to change it to H2 here, and then I believe I'm going to look real quick into the custom fields, and we called their title. Okay, so on single team we can change this out for title, and then that'll display that. So now Let me open back up Chrome so we can refresh and make sure that it's populating what we want it to. There we go. So it's got managing member, test person 1. I don't think that's the way that it looked though. So if we click on this, oh, it is. Let's go back to our team. What did we call it? I don't think we added it. Yeah, we haven't added it yet. Have we? Let me go back. Our team. Okay. So I'm going to have to change that to our team then. Or team from our team. I like the way this looks. So we're going to take this and we're going to recreate that as the style that we're looking for. So let's look in our style sheet again, and it's going to be the H2, so we can take this out of here, and then let's find it down here, H3, uppercase. So we're also going to make it single team content H2 to make it visible here where it kind of looks the same. Okay, so I'm not liking the padding that's around it, so let's see what kind of padding this is running with. So the H1 has a huge amount of padding on it, so let's go ahead and take away the padding, but I also don't want to take away the padding on this one, so I can. Alright, that's cool. So let's switch back to Visual Studio and go up here, and we're going to say, what is it, margin or padding? I believe that one's going to be margin. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do margin dash bottom, and let's say like 0.5 rem. Why is it not saving that? Oh, put that in the wrong spot. Okay, so we need to take this and move it down one to here. And then below that is the H2. Alright, so I'm going to do something that I always do on sites that I do just to make it a little bit easier. Essentially, I'm going to go in here and set my headers to have no margin, or to have a little margin, but that's it. So we're going to do H1 through H6, and then we're going to say margin 0, and then margin dash bottom, let's just say 0.5 rem. And that should give it where it's it's a little bit closer for, so it's not all, the spacing's good, but you don't want to have too much spacing. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to open up the browser. So now you can see it's a little bit closer, and let me check to see the design to see what we are looking for. That looks good. This is still very big, so maybe instead of doing 3070, let's do like let me see what I got over here. No, it's 3070 on the design. Still too big. Let's bring that down a little bit. So let's try 2575 like it was originally. So go to single team, 75 and 25. Alright, that looks a little bit better. Okay, so now we need to go in there and add the additional sections, but we also need to check those additional sections to see if it's there, then do something. If it's not, we don't want to have a blank field. So let's come in here and let's declare some variables. The first one's going to be areas, so practice areas, and then it's going to be using get field areas of practice, and then the next one is going to be associations equals, let's just copy this, professional, PROFS, professional, associations, and then education. So now we have these variables declared, so we're going to check to see if these variables have anything in it. So first thing we're going to do is if areas does not equal blank, and then we're going to echo out a h3, then we're going to give it class text center, and then we're just going to call this areas of expertise. Then we're going to echo out the areas. So let's create a class around it, because I don't want it to just list everything down a page. I want it to break it into columns. So let's do div class equals team section, and then inside of this we're just going to echo out areas. Now I'll show you what I mean by I want a section. I want it to be in columns, and let me just show you that. So end if, and then we're going to switch back over here and refresh, and we should see the first section, area of expertise. So you see right here where it's going to be very long. I don't want that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set a certain height to this div, and then make it where it splits into columns if it goes past that height. So it's just right now it doesn't look like there's a lot, but if there's 20 or 30 different areas of expertise or education or associations that they're associated with, it could get a very long page, and it's going to be a whole bunch of white space over here and just lines and lines of text over here. So it's just a little bit cleaner looking. Alright, so let's switch back to Chrome, or switch back to Visual Studio and go to Styles. What do we call that? We called it Team Section. So let's go down to our staff, and we're going to do Team Section. And then for our Team Section, the way that we're going to set it up is we're going to tell it to, if it's got X height, then we want to have 2 columns. So I'm just looking through my notes, try to find that. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I don't think I need to put a height on it, so let's do column count 2. So we only want this to happen on the desktop, so if we whenever it switches over to mobile, we need to throw in a media query for it. So we're going to do media only screen, and we can do a max width of 767 pixels. So anything below that, we'll use this style for it. So we're going to do team section and then column count 1. Okay, so now if we switch back over to our browser and refresh the page, it should split it up into 2 columns. And then if we resize it to mobile, so let me inspect this, go here, resize it to mobile, it does not split it up. Screen, oh, that's because I misspelled width, W-I-D-T-H. Okay, so now let's refresh this again, and it brings it all down to 1 line. Okay, so that's what we wanted to do. So let's get out of that, and now let's go back to Chrome or Visual Studio and finish the rest of our code. So we got our single team here, and we're also going to add another section here for associations, and associations, there we go. And what is the full text for that? professional associations. And then finally, we're going to add one more for the education, and then we're going to throw in a shortcode for that contact form. So education, just copy this. Alright, so now we have our education, and let's switch back over to Chrome so that we can create a contact form. So let's refresh this. And now we have all of our association areas of expertise and education. And I think I'm going to want this to be left aligned because it looks kind of weird by itself. So just give me a second. I'm just going to remove the text center class for each of those H3 tags. Now refresh, just so it pushes it down. Why is there so much spacing above it, or below it, but not above it? So H3. It's a P tag on the inside. Well, that's fine. The education below it is not. I wonder if we do margin 0.5 rem 0. Nah. Alright. Let's we're gonna leave the style like we have it. And I'm just gonna add some BR tags below it because it's technically another section. So I think one BR tag should be sufficient. And refresh. There we go. That splits it up a little bit more. So I just put a break tag after the div, break tags here, after the div, break tags here, and then after this div, break tag there. Okay, so let's go back to Fluent Forms, and we're going to copy this practice area form, and we're going to name this individual contact, because we're going to use the same thing. If someone sends out a contact to these people, they want to get in contact with specific lawyers, they're going to have a catch-all email address. So the email will get sent to this this person, and then this person will know who they're trying to reach out to. At least that's the way it was explained whenever I was building the project for the law firm. So in other cases, you can create a variable inside of your HTML here, and then have it as one of the variables that you can pull from here. So we're going to, I believe, just save this form. And we got individual contacts. So now we're going to copy this and switch back over to our code here. And then at the very bottom, after this, let's create another PHP tag. And then we're going to do echo, do shortcode. I'm going to paste in that shortcode, and I think we want to add some text above it as well, same way we did the other one. Let's see, practice areas, no, single practice area. Let's just copy this, single team, and paste it. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Consultation. Just realized I spelled wrong. My spelling has been terrible today. Okay, so you complete this form to request a consultation. Now let's switch back over to the browser to make sure everything is loading where it should. Here we go. Okay, so now we just got to add the icons here for them to be able to reach out to them directly using the same thing that we have on the main team page. And while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and change team to our team to team, since that's the way we have our custom post type set up. So now if we remove that we can see the page team. Okay. So we want to display these two on each individual person's page, and it's going to go right here, but we want to do it as icons. So let's see, let me switch back over. Usually I do this dual screen for my videos, but for this video I figured it might be a little bit easier for you guys, but my mind is like all over the place having to switch between browser and the code editor. So just bear with me, sometimes I might forget because I'm not normally doing that, but I thought it might be a little easier for you guys whenever I was if I do it that way in this one. Okay, so start another PHP section here, and we're going to create some variables the same way we did for the other one. So we have one for email, so email equals get field, and then we called it email address. And then let's create another one called phone, get field, phone. Alright, so we have, we're getting the email, we're getting the phone, but we don't want to display anything unless it exists, so we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did for the bottom sections, where if email is not equal to blank, we're going to display the email. And we don't need to do, let's just go ahead and get rid of these two because we only need to have one line here, and it's going to be a href mail to, and then we're going to pass the email to it, and then well, let's do a font awesome icon. So I'm going to copy this. So we're going to use the envelope square, and then we're going to make it 3 times bigger than normal. That way it shows a nice little icon here. And then let's do a title for ADA compliance, and just say email, and then the title, or get the title. Get the title. Okay, so we got that. Now we're going to do another one for the phone. And this one's going to be a tail link. It's going to be for phone. Come up here. Do phone there, and then we're just going to say call the person's name. And then we're just going to do the phone square here. Okay, so I think that's all we need for those. So let's get out of the editor, go back to the browser, and let's refresh it. Did I put anything down for this person? So team, who is this? Test person 2. Edit. Yep, they have an email address and a phone number. So let me check the code. Email address. Okay, well, once again, I misspelled something. So you look at this, email address, and then phone number. Now it should work. Let's go back over here and refresh that now. Nope, still doesn't work. Is it trying to send anything? Am I echoing it? Yeah, I'm echoing it. Test person 2. Email address. Let me just make sure that that's the variable. So we go back to custom fields, edit this. It's email address, phone number. Email address, phone number. Well, no, it's populating it. Why is it not? Do we have Font Awesome loaded on here? Well, we should, because we have icons here. I believe they're Font Awesome. Yeah, they are. So it is populating, it's just you can't see it because the icon is not working. So let me look at the code. Okay, I see what I did. So whenever I created the title, I didn't close out the title. So title, didn't close it out. Alright, so that should be it, hopefully. I said that last time too. So refresh that. Alright, there we go. So now we're getting the two icons that we want. We could probably pretty them up a little bit more. Let's add some padding around them. So these are the eye icons. So let's go back to code, and we're going to go down here, and let's do, what is this one? Is it inside of anything? Content, single team. Okay, so let's do, down here, we're going to do single team content. Now we can't do all of the eyes. It has to. Let's put a class around that section. So let's call it contact links. So we'll just add a class around this, because if we do all the eyes, then it's going to look really weird for the rest of the content. So add contact links to your widget wrap that's around your two icons that we want to modify. And then we can do contact links I, and let's see, what do we want to do with that? So let's do margin 0 and then 5 pixels on each side. And I think I also want to come in here and give them a class of text center. Okay, so let's see how that looks in Chrome, and refresh. There we go. Okay, so that's what I was wanting it to look like. Okay, so now we have test person 2 where they have this information. So let's go to test person 2 and say that we want to remove one of the things off of them. So test person 2, and let's come down here and say that they do not have a professional association. So if we hit update there and refresh, professional association is now gone because they don't have one. So that way you don't always have these header tags that have nothing inside of them. It only produces what you want it to. Okay, so I think that so far that's what I want that to look like. Alright, so let's add the navigation for the team members at the top. Let's go back out of here, go to appearance menus, go to our team, and we're going to add that right here. And then for the team members, we're just going to select all 4 team members and put them in whatever order that we want to. So we're just going to put them in order like this here. Okay, so we save that, and if we go back here, now we have our team 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you click on it, goes to each individual person. You click on this, it goes to the Our Team window. Okay, so let me see. I think that's it. Okay, one more thing that we probably need to do is add some more navigation items to our footer menu. Footer, select, and let's just do about us, team, practice areas, and contact us. So about us, team, contact us, about us, no, yes, okay. So let's do it. Home, about us, our team, practice areas, contact us. Save that, refresh. Okay, so now we have, I think, a fully functioning website. So if you're looking to just build an Elementor capable website, you should be able to stop here. In the next video, I'll go over how to publish your new website, as well as SEO, security, and optimization plugins that I typically use on my website builds. So if you are not subscribed and you would like to see that video, subscribe now and hit the bell notification so you're alerted when I publish my next video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought or if you had any questions. For now, this will do it for this tutorial, and I'll talk to you later.